Hello Pokemon fans, I'm Professor K for the Pokemon Evolutionaries, and today we have yet another brand new Pokemon TCG product. Of course, yesterday we had our Japanese CP6 20th anniversary booster box, and today we're going to switch back to English for a brand new product released today, and that is the Keldeo versus Rayquaza Battle Arena Deck. Now, the last time we had one of these was actually in October of last year, so it's been a little while since you've seen this thing. The previous one was Darkrai versus Mewtwo, which we will probably, actually, you know what, I'm going to put a link in the description down below to that one. We also did a battle with that as well. So we're going to keep things in tradition here, and we're actually going to do a battle with one of these as well. Not sure exactly when we're going to post that yet, but we will do it for sure. But today we're going to go over what is actually in these things, because I'm telling you guys, this is so worth the money. This is $29.99 retail price. In here is two VS Seekers. Those two cards alone will make up $20 to $26 of your value difference. They're worth $10 to $13 a piece. They may go down in value because of this product, but for right now, this is where your money is, guys. Like, this is where you're going to get it back. Not to mention, there's also a couple of cards in here that have never been seen before, and a lot of other playable stuff as well. So let's flip it over to the back here and read the back here. It says, two mighty Pokemon battle for victory. Rayquaza and Keldeo go head-to-head in the new Pokemon TCG Battle Arena decks. These two 60-card decks are ready to play right away with powerful cards and winning strategies worthy of an ace trainer. Each deck is led by an exceptional Pokemon EX and includes 10 foil cards. Let the battle begin. So there's a lot of stuff in here. Plus, there's 2 coins, 2 sets of damage counters, a playmat, a rule sheet, a code card, 2 deck boxes, and a quick guide to unlock the strategies within. I covered up the deck list there because I'm going to show you guys the actual cards, and, you know, it's kind of pointless if you guys are spoiled by the actual deck list. And you know what? I remember these things being notoriously tough to get open, so I'm actually going to make a cut here and get this thing opened up, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, I have everything out of the package here. First, we're going to take a look at this little insert here, the Battle Arena Deck vs. Keldeo versus Rayquaza. It shows you here exactly, you know, what you can do, how the strategy works. You're going to power up Rayquaza by using Electric. You got Battle Compressor to throw away Lightning Energy. Dynamotor's ability brings it right back onto Rayquaza, and Dragon Burst does 60 times. Discard all basic fire and lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. It does 60 damage times the number of energy you discarded. This was an extreme force to be reckoned with in the 2013 and 2014 season. More so in the 2013 season, but it did make an appearance in 2014 as well, and it was very powerful, I have to say. It was a fun deck to play too with Emboar, because Electric rotated out in the 2014 season. So on the back here we have the strategy for Keldeo. Now, this is no surprise. We saw this deck win World Championships in 2015. Keldeo, Blastoise, Archeostoise. Blastoise with the Deluge ability as often as you like during your turn. Before you attack, you may attach a water energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So all you got to do is get a handful of water Pokemon, throw them on Keldeo EX, and Secret Sword does 50 plus 20 for each water attached. So once you power up the attack, 20, 40, 60, you're dealing 110, and every additional energy is another 20 damage. And then Regice also is a perfect card to go with this, being able to hit for 70 with Resistance Blizzard for 3, and during your opponent's next turn, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX. Both these decks are very powerful, and I think it's going to be fun to play it, and so you guys can see how myself and N handle ourselves. It's going to be difficult, that's for sure. No matter who plays what deck, it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's the insert here telling you guys how the decks work exactly. And then there's also a rule sheet and a 2-player mat here, which I'm not going to go over in too much depth. I just want to show you guys the actual mat itself. It is a 2-player mat, so it's only 1 sheet of paper. And yes, it is like plasticky paper. So there's your Rayquaza side here with your prize cards, your bench, and your discard and deck. And then if you flip it over, you've got Keldeo's side here with your bench active, your prize cards, your deck, and your discard pile. And then on the back here, it tells you how to play the game. But most of you guys, not all of you, but most of you who watch the channel probably already know how to play the game, at least to a basic degree. So we're really not going to spend too much time on that. Also, we have this code card here as well, which does unlock everything online, which I will be holding on to because I need those Karens. Next up here, we've got the damage counters and the poison and burn counters. These are the basic ones you get with most theme decks. Most people don't use these in competitive play, but it's a good way to start off learning. Most people use dice, but, you know, I used these actually at the first regional tournament I ever went to. So there's something there. All right, now let's get into what you guys came here for. After showing you guys the rest of the product, we're gonna look at Rayquaza EX first. Now, Rayquaza EX is a very powerful card. It was from Dragons Exalted, number 85 out of 124. And as we discussed, Dragon Burst discards all basic fire energy, does 60 damage times the number of energy you discarded. So the strategy here is to use Electric, as you saw, to bring it back out of the discard pile and attach. It only takes 2, but you got to build it up a little bit. So you got to find a way to make some good harmony here. You can have more than one Electric out and play at a time, but you just got to make sure you have a fire energy to attach every turn as well. That's how that card works. Keldeo has an ability called Rush In, which is really cool. It's a lot like Zoroark here in the current format. Once during your turn, before you attack, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch it with this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So it's a lot like Stand-In. This is the original. You know, this is the OG Rush In ability here. And Secret Sword, 50 plus 20 for each water energy attached. So first and foremost here, guys, I think I'm going to go over the Keldeo deck. There's a card sticking out. It's a water energy. Somehow it made its way out of the deck somewhere in the shipping process, I guess, to the destination store. So let's pull these out of here and let's go over exactly what's in here. I wish they were in order, but they are not. But we have these foil water energies, look really nice. Very reminiscent of the ones we've seen in the past. With the Fairy, we had Yveltal versus Xerneas, we had Darkrai versus Mewtwo, and now Rayquaza versus Keldeo. So we got all the different water type, or all the different energy types now. So here's all of the energy. Did they actually put it in order this time? There's 8 foil energy of water. There's another Keldeo EX here, the boundaries crossed one. So we got 2 Keldeo EX. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 additional water energy. And we also have a VS Seeker. There's 1 per deck. We've got 2 Ultra Balls, which I believe are 2 per deck. And then it starts to vary a bit. This one has Tierno, draw 3 cards. Not exactly a competitive card, but it's good for beginners. Teammates, pretty decent card. Superior energy retrieval, kind of important here with Blastoise, because if you get energy in the discard pile, you've got to be able to get it back, and this was the way to do it. You discard 2 cards from your hand, put 4 basic energy from your discard pile into your hand as well. These are rotated out for standard, but still good and expanded. We've got Ace Skyla, search your deck for a trainer card, reveal it, put it into your hand. We got a Shauna as well, another card that's not really played so much. It's mostly just Professor Sycamore and N for draw support, but Shauna was a thing for a little while. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 5 cards. We've also got 2 copies of Rough Seas, being able to heal off 30 damage from your water and electric or lightning type Pokemon. Rare Candy gets you Squirtle straight into Blastoise. We've got a Professor's Letter to search our deck for 2 energy. I got a couple of Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand, draw 7. We've got a Professor Birch's Observation. Shuffle your hand into your deck, flip a coin. If heads, draw 7. If tails, draw 4. We've got an N, which is very cool because another very playable card. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck. Each player draws a card for each of his or her remaining prize cards. We've got a Lysander, also equally as important, switching your opponent's bench with their active. Here it is, guys. This is the card that this deck is all about. This card is not obtainable in any other way except for this deck, and that is Karen. Karen is a brand new X and Y promo, number 177. Each player shuffles all Pokemon in his or her discard pile into his or her deck. It is a watered-down version of Lysander's Trump card. Lysander's Trump card allows you to reshuffle your entire discard pile back into your deck. This allows you to shuffle all Pokemon in his or her discard pile into his or her deck. So, Night March and Vespiquen, I'm sorry, but that's how it goes. Karen goes that way. So all your item cards that you had before to get them into the discard pile are gone and expanded and standard for Vespiquen. We've got 1 copy of Fisherman here. Put 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck, or into your hand, I'm sorry. We got an Escape Rope. Each player switches his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her benched Pokemon. Your opponent switches first, and if a player does not have a benched Pokemon, he or she does not switch that Pokemon. We got a couple of Dive Balls, being able to go in for a water Pokemon out of your deck for no cost. A Bianca, another card that is not very on the competitive side. Draw cards until you have 6 into your hand. We've got an Archie's Ace in the Hole. Put a water Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench and draw 5 cards, only if this is the only card in your hand. But there was a lot of ways to make that work, which is why it won Worlds. We got 1 copy of Regice here with Resistance Blizzard. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX, and you're dealing 70 damage. Articuno, I love this card. Delta Plus is a great ancient trait. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack by this Pokemon, you take one more prize. And Tri-Edge does 20 damage, plus you flip 3 coins. Each heads gets you 40 more damage. So if you flip 3 heads, that's 140 damage. That's pretty solid. We got a Lapras here from Next Destinies. Call for Family is the only thing this could possibly be used for, but definitely not competitive. There's 2 of those, actually. You get 1 Remoraid and 1 Octillery. Hey, right there. There's the rest of your money for the deck. 2 VS Seeker, Octillery. That's it. That pays for the entire deck. That is something else. So Abyssal Hand is a great ability. Once during your turn before you attack, you may draw cards until you have 5 in your hand. Works really great with water decks. Works okay with some other decks, but still Shaman is the better option of the 2. We have, oh, here we go, Jeff. Jeff from the Poke Capital would appreciate this. 2 Phoebus, 1 deck. Oh my goodness, 2 Phoebus. We got 2. We got 2 Phoebus. If any of you guys have seen his PewDiePie parody reaction video, it's really funny. And I promise you, he did not rip the Mega Charizard in there. I've seen it myself. But 2 Phoebus. Are you happy, Jeff? We got 2 Phoebus. And we also have 2 copies of Milotic as well. The abilities, Sparkling Ripples. I don't know what I was going to say there for a second. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put a card from your discard pile into your hand. Pretty good. You're getting any card that you need necessarily out of the discard pile. So that's pretty cool. We also have 1, 2, 3 Squirtles, and it's the good one too, with Shell Shield. As long as this Pokemon is your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. It's like a built-in Mr. Mime for itself, but nothing else. So that's pretty cool. We have 2 copies of Wartortle. Gotta have that stage 1 in there as well. And then we have 2 copies of Blastoise with Deluge. As often as you like during your turn before you attack, you may attach a water energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. And if you absolutely have to, you can do Hydro Pump. 60 plus 10 from each water energy attached, so 100 for the basic attack and 10 more if you want to add more onto here and you need a 90x attacker and you're out of Pokemon. I've seen people use Blastoise as an attacker. It's just not the best thing. So that is going to do it for the Keldeo deck. Oh yes, and I almost forgot. It does come with these 2 coins. Look at this Blastoise coin. I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't think I've seen this coin before. I have seen this one before though, the Rayquaza coin. But the Blastoise one is brand new and it goes very, very well with this deck if you ask me. Glad they didn't pick Keldeo again, but there you go. There's those coins. Now let's go ahead and get into the Rayquaza deck. This should go a bit quicker because we don't have to explain what each card does nearly as much for those of you who weren't around during the format that this was around. A lot of similar cards. So we have 4 foil Fire Energy, very nice looking. We have 4 foil Lightning Energy. We got our Rayquaza EX, so we have 2 of those. We also have an additional 5 Lightning Energy and an additional 2 Fire Energy. There's our second VS Seeker that I told you about. There's our 2 Ultra Balls. We got a Tierno, a switch, actually 2 switches, being able to switch your active with one of your benched. Another Skyla. Sky Arrow Bridge is definitely a key component of this deck. There's 2 of these. This stadium allows the retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play to be 1 colorless energy less. And it just so happens that Rayquaza has 1 colorless energy, so you can retreat for free with Sky Arrow Bridge. We have a Shauna, Professor's Letter, 2 Sycamores, a Professor Birch, Pokemon Fan Club, which search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. We have our N, our Lysander, our 2 Level Ball, which you're going to search for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less, reveal it, put it into your hand. Our second, Karen. We got 2 Float Stone to retreat for free. Bianca. We got 2 Battle Compressor. Again, more money here. Battle Compressors are still pretty valuable. Search your deck for up to 3 cards and discard them. Shuffle your deck afterward. 1 copy of AZ. Put 1 Pokemon into your hand. Discard all cards attached to that Pokemon. We have Victini from Noble Victories V-Create. If you have 4 or fewer benched Pokemon, this attack does nothing, but you can do 100 for a fire and a colorless if you have more than 4 benched Pokemon. Pretty cool. We have Victini Victory Star. Once during turn, after you flip any coins for an attack, you may ignore all effects of those coin flips and begin flipping those coins again. You can't use more than 1 Victory Star ability each turn. That's pretty much what he's going to be used for. If you flip a Tails and you didn't want to, well, there you go. We got Zapdos in here. Random Spark is a pretty cool attack. Does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. You don't apply weakness or resistance for that benched Pokemon. And then Thundering Hurricane does 50 times 4, times up to 4 anyways. Does 50 damage times the number of heads. You're going to flip 4 coins, so you can do up to 200 damage. We got this Zapdos from Roaring Skies, Drill Peck for 20, Raging Thunder for 120, does 40 damage to one of your benched Pokemon. Zekrom, Outrage. This was very good in my Donphan deck that I placed in top 4 at Cities a couple years ago. Outrage does 20 plus 10 for each damage counter on this Pokemon, and Bolt Strike, 120, does 40 to itself. Dedenne is a great tech against Yveltal, energy short, 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So you'd hit him for weakness, and a lot of decks use this. Actually, we have 2 Dedenne. We got a Pikachu, not just 1, but actually 3 Pikachu. Holy moly. Quick Attack and Nuzzle. Nuzzle's the only one you're going to want to use if you absolutely have to, but what you're going to want to be really using is for Raichu. Circle Circuit does 20 damage times the number of your benched Pokemon for a double colorless energy. Pretty solid there. We also have 3 copies of Dynamo and 2 copies of Electric. Dynamo is pretty much useless other than to get us into Electric, and Dynamotor, once during a turn before you attack, you may attach a Lightning Energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon, and you can use 2 of these in one turn if they're both benched. So that's really good, and it definitely powers up Rayquaza quickly. Alright guys, well that is going to do it for the Rayquaza versus Keldeo, or Keldeo versus Rayquaza, however you want to look at it. Battle theme decks. I think they're pretty cool, and I look forward to actually running these decks in a real match whenever we can. Time is kind of a current issue right now, and there's a little bit of health issues in the house as well. But we're going to try to get it up sometime within the next week or so. Ideally, I'd like to see it go up either Saturday or Sunday, but we'll just have to see how it goes. You know how things can go sometimes. So, with that being said, guys, that is it for Rayquaza versus Keldeo. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more TCG content here on the Pokemon Evolutionaries, and go check this out for yourself. Definitely well worth it if you're wanting to play anything expanded or even in the standard format. It's your cheapest way to really get a lot of these cards if you really add up the math. The total value of these decks is double, if not close to triple, what you actually pay. So I promise you guys, it's well worth it if you're a competitive player or wanting to be competitive. All right, with that being said, we hope to see you guys in the next video. So until then, I'm Professor K for the Pokemon Evolutionaries. And by the way, N wasn't in this video because he's in school today, just if you were wondering and stuck around to the end to find out. So anyways, guys, we'll see you next time. You all take care. Have a fantastic day.